That's Cameron Williams. He's going to do the intro today.
This is Sports Charlotte, the podcast about sports in Charlotte. Yes, I am Cameron Williams, the staff reporter, the Mr. Do-It-All sports here at the Charlotte Post. That's Herb, the editor-in-chief. And
Herb
yes,
White on First Reference.
yes, Herb White on First Reference. The editor-in-chief, Herbert L. White. He is the literal Mr. Do-It-All here at the Post. Everything from news to sports to arts and entertainment. He edits, writes, and does it all. But we're here to talk sports because, after all, it is Sports Charlotte, presented by the Queen City Podcast Network. Basketball on tap today. Where should we start? The college ranks or the pro ranks? Let's start college, shall we?
Mm-hmm.
Charlotte 49ers off to what, 3 or 4 games now, each the men's and women's. Men are through 3. 2 wins, 1 loss. Most recently, a loss to Davidson. No one in the 49ers fan base likes losing to the preppy Wildcats down the road, or up 77 in Davidson.
Nope, they don't. Never have.
So you were obviously watching that game because you were texting me quite a bunch during that game, talking about the missed free throws, the or unable to convert opportunities that the 49ers had. Although they did mount a comeback and, they cut it to 2 late and all this stuff. An L's an L. A bad first half, only scoring 19 points. Granted, you only gave up 29 to Davidson, but you scored 19 points in a 25% shooting half. That's putting yourself behind the 8 ball if there was ever a proverbial definition of it.
Yikes.
What did you take away from this game? Was it more so Davidson was good, Charles was bad, or is it more so both these teams aren't that great?
Ooh. They'll do well to be middling this season, based on what I saw. The 49ers, they obviously had a pretty good thing going the first 2 games, and then they made contact with the proverbial banana peel against Davidson. And that looked like a team that really couldn't figure how to get out of a wet paper bag for a good chunk of that game. The free throwing was atrocious.
11 for 20.
Yeah, if you just clean that up, you win the game.
Yeah.
But then let's not even get into the execution part.
It was rough.
In terms of offense. And it wasn't like it was anything that Davidson was doing that threw Charlotte off, and vice versa for that matter. But Charlotte just did not enough.
Yeah.
They did not do enough to put themselves in a position to succeed when it was there for the taking. I mean, it wasn't like the Wildcats weren't leaving the door open and left the light on. Like, look, come on in. But the 49ers just couldn't figure it out.
Yeah. My takeaway from this game was that the 49ers have to find a way, and I mean, it can be said about their football team as well. You have to start and end fast. You can't have a lackadaisical first half and then just be like, okay, well, now let's flip the switch and come back and win this game. Or vice versa. You can't start really fast, be up on a team, 10 to 15 points, and then let them come back and actually make it a game. Look at Tennessee Tech, the game before. Charlotte was up big in that game. It ended up being a 5 or 6 point winning margin. You have to do both. And when I asked Aaron Fern, coach of the 49ers, at least I used first and last name last time, about that very reality, he was quite frank. He's like, look, this is kind of the filling out portion of the game or portion of the year where you're still, yes, you've had all summer together. That's great. You've had all preseason leading up to the season together. That's great. Now you're playing other teams and you're figuring out your team as far as who's going to be your dudes, as he called it. You had a bunch of dudes, a year before that you could count on. You go to your dudes then, they're gone. It happens. You saw that happen 2 seasons ago when Lakai Patterson, Igor Milicic, all these guys, they left. grass is greener, or
And the money is
at
too.
least the money is greener elsewhere. Last year you had guys like Nick Graves. He's at Creighton now. And so you're stuck with this conundrum of, okay, we had a great preseason. We know what we're capable of, but who's going to be the dudes? And I think Fern has a very good point there, because while you may have some guys that were dudes at the school they were before, they might be in a different role now. And so they're trying to figure that out and just mesh together. He wasn't making an excuse as to why they shot so poorly. I don't think that was where he was going with that at all. But it's just a filling out process right now. They have got a loss coming up on the schedule, in my opinion. They play Virginia Tech on Sunday, and Virginia Tech's 3-0. They've got a lot of good players, and I just think right now Charlotte needs to try to keep their head above water, go fall back to those first couple of games and realize what they do best, what each player specifically does best, and go from there. Now, since Davidson is in Mecklenburg County, well, let's talk about what they did well.
They were Davidson.
They shoot.
They were Davidson. They shoot with intent. They play fairly solid defense. I mean, Davidson isn't going to dazzle anybody. They're just going to play good, solid, fundamental basketball. And
it works.
if your fundamental basketball can't beat theirs, you're going to lose. You know, the best way to go about beating Davidson, you're going to have to out-athlete them. You're going to have to be more athletic.
I thought Charlotte was capable of that, but they just didn't do it. Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, well, what happened to the crew that scored, 92 points in the opener? It's like, you need to get up and down the floor on Davidson, because if you're going to match them in the half court,
that ain't gonna work.
That's the problem.
That's not gonna work for a lot of teams. Their half court sets are really sound, and a credit to their coach Matt McKillop, yes, son of Bob McKillop, for some of the old heads that listen to the pod and remember the heyday of college basketball. I say heyday,
heyday of
5 years ago.
Basketball, yeah.
But I mean, he has really picked up kind of right where Bob left off, and while they're very different in some approaches to things, they're one and the same is how they run their system. They bring in shooters. They bring in guys that defend sound, and while they may not be the most athletic team in the world, they win. And that's all that matters at the end of the day. Craziest moment of this game. Hunter Adam, who is quite frankly on a tear right now. He ended with 16 points in this game, shot 6 of 9 overall. Charlotte has it cut to 2. The shot clock is turned off, or it's like right in sync. And they break the press. They throw the ball ahead to the front court, and he jacks up a 3-pointer. And there is a picture of Matt doing this in just total disbelief. He put that shot up because every 49er fan in the building was like, yes, like, thank goodness for shooting that. And then it just, and it breaks. It's a dagger, nail in the coffin, whatever term you like to use. But as a opposing fan, you like seeing them take that shot, because it's like, why? We're only down to, talking about Charlotte fans in that regard, you want them to see them shoot the ball instead of have to, foul and then put a good free throw shooting team on the line, where more than likely they're going to make 2 shots, and then you're going to be down 2 possessions, or 1 if you get fouled on a 3-pointer, but down 2 possessions. And it was just a wild moment. And Coach McKillop was like, one of our worst decisions ended up being what won the game.
The best decision.
He's like, we made a lot of foolish mistakes and just decisions in that game, but ultimately the worst one won us the game. And he's like, I'm not, with the way Hunter's playing right now, I'm not going to tell him not to shoot, except for tomorrow when I tell him not to shoot when the shot clock's off.
And I bet if he has the same opportunity later, he's going to take it again.
Ugh, maybe.
I mean, because that's what players do. And
But game situation's huge. You
or
can't.
that's true too. I mean, but you're already in front.
But you take more time off the clock by the time someone catches up to them and fouls them. So that's not only that's more time off the clock, but that's also you're putting a good free throw shooting team on the line. I think you take your chances that way instead of jacking up a shot, and then if it misses, you're only the opposing team's only down 2. They can come down and get a layup and tie the game.
Well, but I'm sure young Adam was thinking, "I'm open, let it fly."
Yeah, and it went in, and ultimately that's all that matters. 62-55 result. Like I said, Charlotte's keeping their head above water.
Yeah.
They're,
Hey, let me ask you this,
okay.
because this is, I think, what a rivalry looks like in terms of basketball. The two schools are not separated by a whole bunch of miles, and they're fairly even when it comes to basketball lineage and results in the series. There used to be a time when Charlotte and Davidson played twice a season. Should they do that again?
I wouldn't mind it. I mean, I think it would be. I think it'd be great because if you just look at the recent history, and I mean, since I've been covering this rivalry, these games have been close. There was one game in Halton where one overseas player, he played for like the NBA China, or he played NBA China, and he went off for like 30 something, and Davis won that game pretty handily. But most of them have been close. A couple years ago, Jackson Threadgill for the 49ers wins on a buzzer beater 3. I think it goes to overtime at Charlotte. Then last year was at Davidson. Another close game where Charlotte almost came back and won that one. But now this is 3 straight for Davidson. I know they're loving it. Coach Fern for the 49ers has yet to win in this rivalry, as a head coach at least. But he was on Ron Sanchez's staffs before. He knows all about this rivalry and just what it means to the respective communities and fan bases. So, yeah, I'd love to see it go to 2 times a year.
Well, perhaps somebody will get around to making that happen.
Maybe. We'll see.
Yeah, administrators.
Now, the Charlotte's women's team.
Woo!
Okay, we'll get to that. We'll get to that. Last time we talked about the Charlotte women's team, they had just lost to Auburn. So I'm going to give them a little bit of props first. They beat Campbell, held them scoreless for the final 6 minutes and 36 seconds, if my memory is correct, in that game. Really took charge in that fourth quarter, won that game. Princess Anderson started her really hot streak. She had 26 points in this game, 26 points the next game against UCF on the road, and won that game, which not many people were thinking that was going to happen. I'll say that. And then last night. I'll let you talk first.
Well, it's abundantly clear that the 49ers are having issues with Tigers. Well, I'm just saying, well, SEC Tigers. There, to be specific.
There you go.
First was the
not Knights and Camels.
No, that's not quite the same. But LSU is a different beast, obviously, and Charlotte had a fairly decent start, and then the rest of the game played out.
Yeah,
and it was not very good. Although I will say this: when you're trying to get a program established in the coach's image, you're going to have nights like that. And it's not necessarily bad. Yeah. What was it?
117
to 59. Yeah, that looks pretty bad. I mean, almost doubling the score.
And come to find out, they covered the spread. LSU did. I had not seen any betting lines on this game until I just saw ESPN Bet actually put this market out. 46.5, and they covered.
Yeah. But to me, that's almost secondary, because now you can learn certain things about your team. And one, Princess Anderson is pretty good.
Oh, she's really good.
So you need to do more to make sure that her success ties into your success
Mhm.
as a group. And that's not to say give her carte blanche with everything, but it appears that she can pretty much score on anybody. She had, 27 points
Yep.
against LSU?
27 of their 59. So
Yeah, so
we're
now,
talking about darn near half.
yeah. So now I don't know how many shots she threw up, but something was going in.
Yeah.
And I think that you take that's a learning block.
Mm-hmm.
Build upon that. Now, the other side of that is obviously you've got some holes that will prevent you from competing against a team like LSU. And so you need to do whatever you need in terms of either uh, coaching or personnel to start to close those gaps. But I don't necessarily see that as anything to be embarrassed or uh, dejected over. It is what you should be hoping for in non-conference. You learn something. Now the trick is turn it into something.
Yeah. No, I mean, I agree. And let's give Coach Tamika Reed first reference.
Mm-hmm.
So a little bit of a break. LSU has been doing this to everybody.
Just about, yeah.
This is their third straight game scoring 115 or more, and they have yet to score under 100 points. Now, Charlotte may be the toughest team they've faced at this point, given they played Southeast Louisiana, Georgia Southern, and Houston Christian. Who? I mean, Georgia Southern. Everybody knows Georgia Southern,
Right.
but they've done this to everybody they've played. They've got Tulane in a few days. LSU, they're number 5 team in the country, and it shows. I look forward to that December 4th game when they play Duke, and there's another, it's, 2 ranked opponents. We'll see kind of how good they are there. But I mean, look, Duke's already lost this year, so I'd pick LSU in that game anyway. But back to the 49ers. They've got Cal on the road on the 15th, which is Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
Back before they are home against Wofford on my birthday, November 22nd. And look, I think Tamika Reed scheduled this team well, because I'm probably sure it was a bye game for LSU.
Yeah, somebody got a nice check.
But she's also scheduled teams like Mississippi State, Oklahoma State, and other good opponents to give this team a good gauge of where they're at.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, you beat Campbell. I would have expected them to beat Campbell personally. Didn't expect them to beat Central Florida. That was a really gritty win. Came back, started to slip away, but they persevered in the end. I don't think anybody, including myself, gave them a chance to keep it within 20 with LSU. I wouldn't give most teams in the country, unless you're UConn, South Carolina, or UCLA, a chance to do that against LSU.
Maybe USC. No? Okay.
Well, I mean, 20 maybe. But I like the rest of their non-conference schedule. They got Winthrop, they got Davidson in there, East Tennessee State before they start conference play. If they can go, California's going to be tough. Beat Wofford, Oklahoma State being ranked loss. So 2-2, 3, 4. If they can go 4, or if they can go 5-3, the rest of their non-conference, I think they're in a good spot.
I don't disagree with any of that. I believe that when you have a change in culture, change in coaches, change in roster,
Oh, yeah.
there's a lot to sort out. And nowadays, it's on a year-to-year basis. So you have to adjust on the fly, and you have to do it quickly.
Mm-hmm.
So everything now points towards making those incremental improvements in time for conference play. And, okay, getting beat down by LSU, that's not the worst thing that could happen. Because, like I said, you are learning things about your personnel and your scheme and your culture. And you need to be able to turn that into something that will work when it really matters. And that's conference play.
Yeah, I mean, I think they can do that. I really do. But we'll put a bow on the Charlotte 49er talk Plenty of basketball left in the season for both teams to kind of figure things out. Charlotte Hornets.
Mm-hmm. Ooh, talk about who's showing up
What you talking about?
in terms of what you're going to get from game to game.
Oh, well, yeah. I wrote a column style story, and you can see that. I'm not sure if it's in print this week, but it is on the charlottepost.com website. I talked about this team. We don't know what they could be because you've been without LaMelo Ball now 4 or 5 games. Brandon Miller hasn't played since the second game of the year. And these are your 2 superstars. These are the 2 guys that are supposed to lead the way. How can you know where your team's at if you don't have your best players available sporadically throughout the year, every year?
It's a hard fit. It really is. And I'm sure that Coach Charles Lee is thinking the same thing. It's like, what could be if I had everybody in place? But you know what? You don't have them in place. So you're going to have to figure it out on the fly. And even though the results aren't showing up in the win column,
well, it did last night.
Yeah, they beat Milwaukee, and the Bucks were shorthanded as well. So I think that result was probably, yes, the better team won.
Mm-hmm.
And the Hornets showed something. I think that even though getting to 500 this season and staying there may be difficult, I like that roster. But you're never going to be able to go anywhere with it without those difference makers. You've got a bunch of really good role players. And I think Ryan Kalkbrenner was 8 for 8 shooting last night.
And he just his wife had just delivered their baby.
Yeah,
it's been a wild 28 or 24 to 48 hours for him.
Yeah, so I'm sure he's feeling something.
Yeah,
and it's all in there together. But he had a wonderful outing in terms of basketball last night. And King Khan Kniffel,
yeah,
I think is going to be really good. Is he going to be LaMelo Ball special or Brandon Miller special? I don't know.
Scoring wise, I think he could be. I think what Brandon Miller and LaMelo Ball give you is different. In fact, from Miller's standpoint, Miller's a really solid, sound defender at times, and his ability to create shots, driving to the basket is a lot different than Khan. Khan's going to be a guy that's going to knock down shots. He's going to make the smart basketball IQ plays. He grabs rebounds. He makes the right pass when it needs to be made. But LaMelo Ball he's the all-star. Had a 30-point triple-double with like 12 or 13 rebounds and 12 and 13 assists. He has to be on the floor for this team to be competitive and make a playoff push. Right now, they're trying to keep their head above water with these role players. But guys like Colin Sexton and Sion James, they need to be your first couple guys off the bench. Brandon Miller and LaMelo Ball need to be in those spots with Kalkbrenner and Bridges and Kniffel at the 3. That's the way that roster can be competitive.
Yeah. But if your main 2 guys aren't there,
you're having to make do.
Yeah.
I mean, just looking at the game against LA, they really didn't play all that bad. I mean, they led by 4 after the first quarter, but then in the third quarter, they just came out flat as unleavened bread.
That's 15 flat.
15 points total in the third quarter, and LA scored 31. Look, Luka Doncic, all-world player. He's going to do what he does. 38 points, nothing out of the ordinary for a player of his caliber and his skill set. But you can't give up 13 to guys like Marcus Smart and 14 to DeAndre Ayton, 21 to Rui Hachimura. Because, I mean, this team had 11 bench points. Their starting lineup killed Charlotte.
Yeah. And the other side of that is defensively, I know that's Coach Lee's mantra. Play defense. and get up down the floor. But he just doesn't have enough horses to get over the hump. He's got great support people in place, but without those main two guys, it's going to be a struggle night to night.
Yeah.
And if everybody else is playing at full strength, the Hornets are going to suffer.
Yeah. I think last night was a perfect example of that. They were able to beat a team without another all-world player, Milwaukee, with Giannis Antetokounmpo. Load management. Whatever that is. Didn't hear about load management in Jordan's day, but anyway.
That was a long time ago, too.
The GOAT. But I digress.
Yeah.
You didn't hear about load management, and while, yes, they're on a 5 games and 7 days run, something like that Milwaukee is, it's a bummer for the fans, for one thing, but you're automatically spotting Charlotte 30 points, bare minimum. Not just scoring, but what he does rebounding, what he does facilitating. Giannis a good passer for a big man, too. You're automatically spotting him a minimum of 30 points because, I mean, he is averaging 32 points per game. I didn't see any way Milwaukee was going to win that game. I thought when Charlotte was technically still the underdog, I was like, man, that's free money. Vegas was just laying money on the ground and saying, take it. But I think for Charlotte to get to where they need to be, they need to get healthy. And in my column, I said, it sounds like a broken record screeching on the turntable. We say it every year. Until it happens, they're not going to be competitive.
Yeah. Well, and I guess, what is the saying? Your best ability
is availability.
And when your best players aren't available, that's an issue. But then it becomes a business decision. Do you hang on to these assets that aren't always there for you? And I know there are certain people out there who are complaining that since his rookie year, that LaMelo Ball has been unavailable for way too long in terms of being able to help this team. And maybe you should dump him. I'm not necessarily on board with that, but I certainly understand people's frustration with not having him available. And now it looks like Brandon Miller is becoming that type of player as well. Although, and it seems like these guys get hurt over the strangest of circumstances. And so, I don't know. You can't put them in bubble wrap because you probably have an issue there, too. You slip on a bubble and hurt something. But the Hornets are just going to have to deal with that. And maybe this is an opportunity for them to try to build a roster that can survive those types of absences for long periods of time.
Yeah, but I still don't think there's a route to sustain success if you're constantly having your top players missing significant amounts of games in a row. If it was a situation where, like, LaMelo misses 1-2 games here and then he plays 20, or Brandon Miller misses 1 or 2 games here, plays 15 to 20 before he misses another game, that's totally different. They're missing extended periods of time and only playing short periods of time. It's the complete opposite. That's not winning in any league. So I mean that's where it's at. If you get these guys healthy, I think they could be a competitive team. If you don't,
you won't.
It's that simple.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you can take us out too.
Oh, okay.
You started it,
okay.
So you can end it as well.
Well, thank you all for listening. Go to thecharlottepost.com while you have the chance, and up at the top right, there's a donate and subscribe button. Do both, but more so subscribe. Make sure to get the post, get the e-edition, get the physical copy, however you want to consume the post news that we bring to you on a weekly basis, really daily basis, but weekly in print. Make sure to do that. Also, subscribe to the sports newsletter to get all your sports news, and my reporting's in there a lot. Herb's reporting's also in there, as well as Jeff Hawkins with the Panthers, Steve Goldberg with Charlotte FC, which their season has come to an end. Side note. Make sure to do that, and also get the podcast on the Queen City Podcast Network. There we go. Spotify, SoundCloud, wherever you get your podcasts, we'll be sure
Apple Podcasts too.
Wherever you get your podcasts.
There you go.
And we'll be sure to keep coming out with content each and every week if you like to hear me and this guy talk. So, that being said, have a fun weekend. This is just Thursday, but have a safe Friday. Enjoy your weekend. Go watch some high school football. Thanks for watching and listening.